guys, welcome back to the page. Thank you for being here today. It's been a while, but I'm back. I mean, I'm not like back, but I wanted to just come on here and do a little video because it's been a while. And most importantly, I just want to thank you guys for continuing to support us and just understand our absence off of YouTube, our inconsistency off of YouTube. And even like my clients as well, because as you guys know, I haven't really been coaching. Well, I haven't been coaching. So thank you also to my clients for your understanding. And most importantly, I just want to thank you guys for your prayers. I know that I don't actually really know who's praying for me technically, but I definitely have realized that I have been having people pray for me, and myself and Adam. And I just really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much for keeping us in your prayers. Just walking through a wilderness season. It's just been very real to not be able to show up to things at all. And I just have so much that I want to share, but I feel like so much I want to share needs to be saved for another video. One, I want to do a whole video on what's been going on with me walking through this healing journey, but I don't feel it's time yet to talk about it because I just feel like I'm still walking through it, so I'm kind of waiting for it to complete a little bit more before I talk about it. And then Adam and I are going to jump on and do a video hopefully next week, and we can give you guys more updates, more life updates and things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what I'm gonna talk about, but I did just want to share with you guys that if you are going through a hard season, I just want to encourage you that if you're following the Lord, you love Him, He is working out your situation for good. Might not seem like it, especially if you're going through something really, really terrible, but He is working out all things for good. And yeah, just to share some of the things that I feel like the Lord has been doing. I think the two things that stand out to me is that, number one, I think that a lot of times we ask God to do something in our life, or we want our character to grow, but we don't really realize what we're asking for, and until we go through the training ground. And unfortunately, I think most of the time when we really are able to change and grow, it comes through trials a lot of the time. I know that a big prayer that I prayed earlier this year was, I told the Lord that I feel like I don't actually really know Him. I feel like I talk about Him and I talk to Him, but I felt like I didn't really know Him. And I did ask the Lord, I want to know You better. And I would say He really has been showing me who He is. Something I've also been realizing is that faith really is not a formula. So what I'm about to share, it doesn't mean that you need to do these exact steps and this is what's gonna work for you. But God can use a lot of different things to speak to us. And interestingly enough, my friend sent me this artist on Spotify, but I'm sure he's on YouTube, he's on many other places. It's called The Bible in Song by Project of Love. And it's this artist, and he sings the Bible essentially. And so because I haven't been feeling oftentimes well enough to even read the Bible, or I guess not having the mental capacity to take in what I'm reading if I'm not feeling well, but I can always put a song on. And so I'm not saying this is going to change your life, but I will say that over time, listening to the songs, this is basically what God has spoken to me through. And as I continue to listen to this Bible and song, and hearing these different scriptures, honestly, my mind has been being renewed, which makes sense because we need to hear the word. But I guess I always just thought, oh, it has to only be reading the word, but I'm hearing the word in song. And it's actually really been renewing my mind, where I feel like I'm starting to really see God's character and his love. And so that's what I wanted to share, is like, God really, really does see you. Like, he really does see the situation that you're in. He sees your suffering, he sees your pain, and he really does care. Like, I feel like that just sounds really cliche, and it's hard to like really grasp a revelation of that. But I think because of what I've been going through, subconsciously, even though I always know that God loves me, but subconsciously I've been feeling like God has taken a step back from me, like kind of like hidden his face from me, or kind of like he kind of is just not as close. Like, he's kind of removed himself a little bit, not because I did anything, but kind of out of like discipline, to discipline me, to teach me. But I just feel like that's not what God has been doing at all. And he's been wanting to show me that he's actually very, very close to me in what I've been going through, and he wants to be close to me, and he wants to be close to you in what you're going through. And I feel like the love of God has been what the Lord has really been showing me, is like just how much he actually really, really loves us, really. So yeah, this, just listening to this music has really made a really big difference for me. And I know that that was the goal. One of the goals, I believe, from this artist was that I think I heard him say something, or I read on his website something about like people knowing God's love through his music, or something like that. Yeah, so that's been really encouraging. And then the second thing is that I would also say too, that just because, like, let's say you have a really difficult situation that you're going through, and you feel like you've been in it for a long time, or maybe you haven't been, but either way, you've been feeling like your prayers are not being answered. I feel that, and I've felt that for a long time. I felt that with what Adam has been going through. I felt that with what I've been going through. And it's one of those things where, like, we've been in non-stop prayer. We've done everything we can think of to do. And then we wouldn't really see the results. And it would start to feel like God's not hearing us, God's not answering our prayers. But then you look at the other things that God is answering. And I would just say, like, God's faithfulness, he has been undeniably showing up in my life and answering so many prayers that maybe like the big prayer hasn't been answered yet, but I know that it will be. And I know that I am just like walking out my healing. And again, there's so much to the story of my healing. But yeah, it's just, I think that it's really important to look back at God's faithfulness and see like what prayers has he answered and how has he been faithful, because it's very, very easy to forget. And even like, honestly, I have no idea if I said this in my last video, no idea. So I don't want to go on a tangent on this because I might have talked about this, but I just feel like it's also really easy when you're going through a hard season to really feel like, oh, God doesn't have good plans for me. Maybe this is going to be my life for the rest of my life. And you just forget what God has done. And so, just as an example, like, I have to remember that the Lord miraculously brought Adam and I together. As you guys know, you probably have seen our love story, because that is like the main video on our channel. Probably how most people found our channel is that story. And he just showed up in such an undeniable way. And then when we moved to Vancouver, he brought us an apartment in such an undeniable way. Like for our wedding, we had our wedding venue canceled on us about like 5 or 7 days before the wedding, and the Lord provided a new venue for us, like supernaturally. And he's just opened so many doors, and I think it's just really important to recall like what God has done, because why would he do all of that to just then leave us like stranded? Like, oh yeah, I brought you your kingdom spouse, or I brought you through whatever you were going through with school or relationship or health or whatever it was. Why would he do the miraculous things and then not continue to have his hand over you? It is hard. Like, God has been showing me so many things, but like I don't feel led to share everything that the Lord shares with me, or it's like not the time, or like it's for a different video, or it's like the testimony is not complete yet. But I've been also dealing with like a lot of regret of like, and again, maybe you can relate to this if you're going through a difficult season where you keep playing everything over in your head, and you're like, well, maybe if I just did this differently, or maybe if I didn't date this person, or maybe if I prayed harder for this person's healing, or maybe if I didn't sin, or maybe if I didn't backslide, or maybe if I didn't do this one thing, maybe if I didn't join this church. Like, there's just so many different those are not my thoughts, but I'm just saying examples maybe for yourself. I've had so many regrets around my health, and just like, well, maybe if I just had found out what it was sooner, or maybe if I had taken this medication, or maybe if I had done this, or maybe if I hadn't done this, maybe if I didn't let this in, and just feeling a lot of like looking over the past year and a half, because that's how long it's been since I started going through this like health thing, and I feel like the Lord has already taken into account the wrong turns that we're going to make and the mistakes we're going to make. And I don't mean that in a way that's like, oh, you just purposely disobey or you purposely sin and then you just expect God to put you back on track. But I mean the ways that we've made like mistakes, including sin, that he has already accounted for that. And I know some people might disagree with this, but this is just my personal belief. I just think that, because I used to think about like, I'm confused, why did God have to send Jesus to save us? Because he's God, so he would have already known that man would have fallen into sin. He already would have known what Adam and Eve would have done. So why is it like, oh no, they made this mistake, now plan B, I have to get them back by sending my son? And I just felt like there was never a plan B. Like, I just felt like God already knew, he already knew what was going to happen, but it ended up being his ultimate plan, because how could God not know that we were going to do that, if that makes sense? So, because it would just make me be confused of like, but doesn't God know everything? He would have seen that coming, you know? And it always felt to me like a plan B, which made it feel to me like God was out of control, which obviously is not the case. And so with that being said, then I also thought of the example of like David, about how our Savior came through the line of David and Bathsheba. Like the fact that Jesus came from the line of David and Bathsheba, and when you think about it, like, that means, again, God had already accounted and countered in the fact that David was going to do what he did, that he was going to sin and make that mistake, but God was still going to use it, and it factored into his ultimate plan. So anyways, that really just made me realize that like all of the wrong turns that I took, God had already accounted for. And so all of the wrong turns, or seemingly wrong turns, that you feel like you've taken in your life, or you have all this deep, heavy regret of what if I just did this differently, I just wanted to reassure you that the Lord had already seen in the future. He already knew the decisions you were going to make, and He accounted for them. And again, that doesn't mean going forward that we're like, well, I'll just be disobedient then. Not at all. But yeah, that was really encouraging to me to know that I don't have to keep looking back. I don't have to keep regretting. I don't have to keep calculating in my head and wondering if I had done something differently. But yeah, my main thing I just want to say is that if you're going through a hard time right now, the Lord will bring you through. Yeah, the Lord will bring you through. Don't allow it to push you away from Him. Don't feel like your quiet time has to look the same as it always did, or your time with Him has to look the same as it always did. Just be open to spending time with Him, or getting to know Him in a way that you didn't know before. And even when it looks hopeless, just keep recalling. I try, even when I'm having a really hard day, to write down a list of things that I am grateful for, that the Lord, and then I write down a list of the things that the Lord has done, and it kind of just like builds my faith again, that he has come through in the past, and He will come through again. So yeah, I just wanted to really, really thank you guys so much for your prayers. It means so much, and sorry that I can't share more in this video. Again, once I do a video with Adam, we'll share more life updates, and hopefully I can do a video on my healing journey and a testimony on that when the time is right to do that. And I just appreciate your continued prayers. I think really all that I need is for people to stand in faith with me. I definitely don't need like sympathy or anything like that for what I've been going through, which I know I've been pretty vague about it anyways, but yeah, I don't really want to focus on like how difficult it's been, because I'll do that in another video when I talk about the healing journey. I don't really want to focus on how difficult it's been, or the symptoms, or just stuff like that, because I just feel like I'm not looking for someone to feel bad for me or to have sympathy for me. I actually feel like all I need is for someone to believe along with me and to have faith along with me, that I'm coming through this, because I do believe that I am, and just standing together in faith for the full victory to just come into fruition. So yeah, that's that. I think that's all I have to say for today. And thank you. We still have Patreon supporting us. That's so sweet. So thank you for continuing to support us, even though we have not been putting out content. It's really, really sweet. So thank you. Thank you to our subscribers and you guys praying, commenting, and my students and clients. Really, really love and appreciate you guys. And I will see you in the next video, hopefully very soon with Adam. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.